What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the Vokalvizions podcast, the Something to Say podcast. I got
Yeah,
something to say, you got something to say, we
we
all
all
got
got
something to
something
say.
to say.
I am your host, KFC, aka Kevin's Perspective. You see the title. KJ, tell these beautiful people who you are.
Man, I'm Kevin H. I am Mr. Humble Beginnings. You can find me on YouTube too. Vokalvisions on this thing. It is what it is.
Yes, sir. Desmond, man of the kingdom. Tell these people who you are.
This is Desmond, also known as Dude 47 all day, every day. Go about a different amount of names. Well, know me as also the artist CEO, but at the same time, tonight, handling business. You know what I mean? We brought the Vokalvisions network, expressing what it's seen to accomplish a dream. You know what I mean? Using our voices to open the eyes in the minds of the people. So,
Absolutely. So, like I said, we all got something to say, so let's get straight to saying it. Fellas, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? How's you doing? How's you feeling?
Weekend good, man. Got to be around a lot of water. Water is a lot of reflection going on when you're around water. Down in Georgia, hanging out in Savannah with some good people. My belief in faith, compadres, so my partners down there. So, we down there having a nice little time, enjoying work from the harvest from the work that we have done in the past year. You know what I mean? So salute to the believing faith. Business out there, keep up the good work, and keep your business running hard, keep supporting the community, taking care of the community. That's what they do. If y'all haven't heard it from South Carolina, Believe in Faith is a home care company that we go to people's houses and we assist them with, the disabilities or ailments like that. So keep up y'all good work in community and keep building.
That's what's up, man. Keep building. I love that. Yeah, KJ, what you got going on, man?
Oh man, the weekend was good. You know what I'm saying? It's back to school time, so just getting the kids all last minute stuff, getting them together, materials and all kind of stuff like that, man. Just have to get the kids ready, man. That was it.
Yeah.
That's all I did all weekend, man.
Yeah, I just saw a video of a kid, of the bus driver, like just leaving the kid at the bus stop, just driving off. Like, okay, we getting started. We starting already. We starting already. You know what I'm saying? Little kid on the first day. Little kid was actually the kid was at the porch or in front of the door. And the parent was like, yeah, watch this bus driver drive off. And the bus driver drove off. I mean, it was like he ain't go to the bus stop, so the bus driver drove off, hit a U-turn. I was like, yeah, we getting started already. They ain't playing.
That might have been him trying to send them a message like, all right, now we're not gonna play this game this year. Are you just standing around on the porch waiting? They need to be at the bus stop. He might be sending them a message like, yo, look, they better be at the bus stop.
At your destination. Yo, people got to learn. People got to learn to be at their destination. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? At that time, like, come on now. We already know the rules to the game. Everybody always want to break rules to the game and do it their own way. You know what I mean?
If she knew it's a possibility he would drive off, why she didn't have him at the bus stop?
It just reminded me of the Bernie Mac story.
Authority.
It reminded me of the Bernie Mac story when Bernie Mac was like, he teases me. and the bus driver drove off. That would have sounded like it might be one of them situations, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I think they're gonna come back up in one of our topics tonight. I hear that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get straight to it though. So, I had a conversation a couple days ago about exes. So, it was a simple question. Would you take back your ex? And I said, it depends on the situation, depends on this, that, and the third. But then I had to think about it. I'm like, no, I'm not taking my ex back at all. I've never done it in a way where I go back to a relationship. I mean, me personally. So, I've always thought that time in life goes forward. So I never went back. Now I understand going back. I understand, taking back an ex or whatever the situation is, whatever that future may look like. But me personally, No, not at this current moment. I can't say. So, what about y'all? What you take back an ex?
I think it's funny. It's funny how stuff works. Me and my little brother actually was gonna jump on tomorrow and have a conversation about exes, but we was gonna talk about from the angle of how do you feel if maybe like a homeboy or a family member ended up dating your next in a dating an ex, like is it disrespectful for someone to go behind you and date your ex? So that's kind of funny that we're
Another
talking about it.
disrespectful.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny
Yeah,
that you brought that
that's
up
gonna
because
be good.
me and Nate
It's
was
gonna
just
be
talking
good.
about that earlier. We had literally just said that tomorrow we was gonna jump on and talk about that. So that's funny. But personally, no. I always said this, like, even when people call themselves doing like separations and all that, I always say like the whole point of coming together means that we have decided to make the decision to work on things together. And if we got to separate to build or to make something better, that means we're not the ones for each other. I don't see why we have to break up, dog, to get to fix something. So if we broke up, whatever for whatever reason it was that we couldn't figure it out, then I think it was just a lost cause at that point. So nah.
Yeah. For me, no. I believe in let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. And once you made a decision to exit, then the decision is meaning to cut off, right? In biblical forms, and the word decision means to cut off. So once you make a decision to exit, then you exit and you live to your word. I mean, if it was in you to make this decision, then if you don't live by your word, then how you gonna give out words in life to live by? So no, I believe on stand firm on your decision. If it's no, it's done. Exit.
So when do you cut them off though? Like when do you cut them off immediately, or do or what is the cutoff time? Like what happens after okay, we broke up? So is it depending upon the situation? Is it depending upon what else you're trying to like? What's the cutoff?
I mean, I mean, depends on what we talk about. My cutoff is always coming from if you getting under the vision. And we gonna live under the same vision. I don't believe in no division. I don't believe in two visions and we're gonna divert and have two things going on. So we come on one vision and we can live under that. And what I believe in, you know what I mean, which is the kingdom and following God. So it's like you willing to do all it, we willing to do that, we can work it out because we understand what the foundation is built on. So that's why I said we don't have the same vision, then we don't have a foundation to build nothing on. So when the vision is not there, then no, I'm exit, I'm out. Uh, and when the disrespectful to the kingdom that we supposed to be living under is disrespected, I'm out.
Usually with me, I don't know if we say cut off, but I think we really when we come to an understanding that we ain't gonna work, then we know to end the situation in which that we had together. As far as cut off though, I'm pretty good at what I'm saying, like salvaging like relationships themselves. Like we might like there's plenty of people who I have stopped dealing with in a coupleship manner, but we still be cool as far as friends. So I mean, like when you say cut off, a lot of times it ain't really a cut off because I don't usually end with people bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get in like grow to negative spaces. It's just like we get to a point that was like, yo, we just can't rock with each other in that manner. But so it's never really a cutoff with me though.
Yeah, that's why I asked, is it depending upon the situation or even just the breakup itself? Because I mean, some people may go like, "Yo, I'm cutting them off next day. We done,
Yeah,
out of
that's
here."
usually when you've been hurt though. Usually when somebody hurt, that's usually when they be like, man, I ain't dealing with this person no more ever. F them and all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
thing
be
is,
lies, cap
I mean, it's a
completely.
difference between cutting off a person and cutting off what the union was about. You know what I mean? The union was about the relationship. So it's like, now I cut off the relationship. I cut off what we was, on the path of. But as a human being, I still wouldn't cut off communication because everybody, can be forgiven for whatever they done. And if you cut off communication, how can forgiveness be given? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I might cut off the relationship and what it stand for, what the statute is on it, but I ain't gonna cut off communication because all can be forgiven.
Yeah, that comes with a level of maturity because a lot of people can't separate the two. They can't differentiate between the person and the relationship. So they just like, Well, as soon as the relationship done, everything, the person's out of here. Like the person was just synonymous with relationship, and that's it. So it's like I don't know, man. I don't really subscribe to cutting people off unless they, of course, it's something major or something that's detrimental to you. But I mean, to be amicable in a relationship or after a relationship, to be friends, I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I might not know about the friendship part. You know what I mean? Like we
Well,
talking about level of
like I'm talking
communication
about
to
being
a level.
like still being deep friends. No, I ain't like talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll be cool, but we won't be friends. Like I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, the level of communication still has a part to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why this relationship has changed, because we have changed the level of communication amongst how we go communicate in life. So it's like, hey, once we exit out of this sphere of relationship and we digress that whole situation, then we are just on association terms. I know you, you know me, and we can speak and be well with one another, but you don't need to be having no long, drawn out conversations. I ain't trying to have long phone calls. Well, you gonna plant in my mind before what's changing now about your thinking? You haven't even went away to really think about anything. I mean, because the thing is about keeping people. Why would I continue to talk to something that's not building a vision, or we not sharing a vision? I don't get it. Like, some people keep holding on to things that they say they don't want a part of. And that's what I don't understand. Like, you got to make a decision. You want to keep talking to something that say they already tell you they don't want no part of this. So I'm gonna keep talking to something that don't want no part of something. And you already said that. You already said, yo, we want to digress this relationship. You said you don't want a part of certain things. So why keeping the deep of communication? Why call every week or every day? Like, the decision already been made to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yo, at the same time, like, some people don't think about it, but I make sure like we both hold our words. Like, people don't think about that too. Like, both of us are accountable for communication. So we decided to exit. You're gonna understand the exit too. You're gonna be able to communicate with me as often, as willingly, as freely as you had before. Those open in criteria
Yeah,
that
the
you look for is gone.
accessibility. The
It's gone.
accessibility shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
Shouldn't be
yeah,
that accessible.
yeah, yeah. That opportunity
Yeah.
is like, people don't understand missed opportunity. But we already said we're gonna leave this opportunity gone. So
Mm-hmm.
why keep trying to have an opportunity that you don't want? I don't get. If you don't want the
Yeah.
opportunity, don't take it. But don't see if you can manipulate it. That's how I see it as also a sign of manipulation.
Well, yeah. I mean, people manipulate because they don't know whether they're gonna go back or not. I think
Right.
that if you already made the decision that you don't go back, then there's no point in like trying to manipulate anything. But if you on the fence, then yeah, you see that as a tactic to manipulate and try to get somebody back into your good graces, or not good graces, but into your, you know what I'm saying, into that inner circle or whatever, to a
Mm-hmm.
certain degree.
Yeah, I just tell people, live with your decision with no malice, with no hatred in your heart. Make a decision with no hatred in your heart, and it's fine. Let your
And
yes mean yes, no mean no.
don't get me wrong. I've seen people redo it. Like I got an aunt who done been married, divorced. You know what I'm saying? They done, they done separated for some years. I mean, and then their daughter grown. Their daughter about 30 now, and then I mean they got back together. They back together now. So I mean I done
Mm-hmm.
seen people do it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm good on that.
Yeah, I believe people can grow. I believe people can grow apart and grow back together depending on the road that they on.
Yeah,
Like at that point in their life, they weren't fit, but the road ended up meeting again with them both in the same mind frame. I can see that. I can see that
yeah,
happening.
yeah. I can definitely see it.
Yeah. So going into, well, this might be a is it disrespectful type question right here. Is it disrespectful for your ex to keep contact with your family? Actually, no. I mean, I'm gonna put another caveat to that. To keep contact with your family, but not you.
We were talking about based upon a wrong.
A wrong. I don't know if it's wrong. I would just saying.
I mean,
Do you think it's
someone wronged the other person in the relationship? So like something went bad, somebody cheated or something like that. If that's the case, then I was like, it's the association. Bad association spoil useful habits. 1 Corinthians 15:33. So my whole thing is, if you wronging me, you know what I mean? My family will see it as you wronging them. You know what I'm saying? We are familiar. So it's like, if you did a wrong, then the association will change because you was wrong. You get what I'm saying? But if it was no wrongdoing, I cannot expect my family to not associate with that person because it was no wrongdoing. I can't cause no evil to come, certain things that come upon their life for no reason when there's no wrongdoing. If it's wrongdoing involved, then association will be brought up.
I mean, I don't. I guess. I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful for a person to do that. I mean, I think, like, even if you look at the concept of cheating, like, there are some people who are great people, but they just have problems with, you know what I'm saying, fidelity. So even if they cheated, I don't look at that as a complete wrong to where it's a dissociation amongst, you know what I'm saying, like your entire family. You know what I'm saying? I think it depends on, I guess, however or whoever it is, or what is you place your values upon, and what is a hierarchy for you, and whatever go through all this other. I guess it just depends on the individual. Me personally, I don't find no problem there with you keeping in touch with my people. I mean, it is what it is. I don't control who you talk to, though. You can talk to whoever you want to talk to.
Yeah,
Now,
I got the question.
You wrong, but you don't even care if you're wrong. You can't like let me put it like this. You did me wrong, and you're like, nah, I do them wrong. If you're just a wrongdoer, right, and not having a change of mind, you don't feel sorry about what's going on, then it is.
I mean, I get it. I just, I'm not the moral guy. So when people say wrong, that ain't really saying nothing to me. But
Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
And I'm gonna come from that perspective of,
I mean, I got the question really because the concept was from I forgot what podcast it was. It was a long time ago, and it was like, "Yo, would you be mad if your ex came and got a plate at the cookout?" And I was like,
I mean, let them eat. I mean, at some degree, I mean, you still got humanity that you got to acknowledge in people. Like, that's what I say too. Like, at the same time, my thing is the levels of stuff. My whole thing is, I ain't saying that people can't communicate with you, but it's a level of communication. Like, how often, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the level of communication? So it's just the level of it. Like, no, but they should always be able to talk to the family. But it's just a level of communication.
Yeah, because it's the layer to it to a certain degree is they talking, they still in contact with your family, and you at the family function or the cookout or whatever the case is, and you with your new significant other. So you find out your cousin or brother or whoever invited your ex over for a plate. Is that still cool?
I think it would be more uncomfortable for like the new person you talk to, because I've been through that. Like I've been through that. Like I done talked to a chick, yo, and like me and her stopped talking, but her and my mom's was super close. Like Shorty could do hair good. So like I like stopped talking to her months ago. Fuck around, come around my mama's house. Shorty over there braiding up my mama hair. Like they close. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I can't control who my mama cool with. Like, yo, if my mama fucks with you, my mama fuck with you. I can't control that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's one of them things like, damn, because if you got a new shorty, then it's like, all right, now, it's like, it's kind of a tricky thing. But then even with that, it's like, yo, you don't have any say so because one, that's my mama's house. Yes. I can't go to my mama's house, tell her who can be her company. If she fuck with her, she deal with that. That's what my mama to do. Like, I don't hold no barriers in it. Like, you might not like it, but at the end of the day, I mean, other people are grown, so I mean, I'm not in a position to tell people that. And I've been through it, so I'm like,
yeah, that's another thing too. I realize we don't have control over people.
Yeah, you can't control.
It's levels to things like how you gonna like. You don't have no control over people anyway. People gonna do what people gonna do. Like, so if a person can't understand that who's the new person or that in your ex is around, you got to acknowledge, like, listen here, I can't control neither one of them. Like,
hey, how you feel?
It's for that new person.
How do you feel? How do you feel being the new person though? When you the new person, yeah. Like, how do you feel when you the new person? Like, say for example, you are the new significant other in that situation. And you get over there, you like, yo, that's your ex? Like, oh yeah. You know, my mom, you know, she's like a son. She's like a son to my mom. I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. How you feel being the new guy, at the house at that point?
I'm not bothered by that because I understand that you can't control people. Like, I can understand if the female, she broke it off with the dude, but I can't control your mama. I can't control the fact that your daddy and him super tight. They building on sports or whatever, man. Like, I can't control that. Like, I mean, I might be, you might feel a way, but at the end of the day, if it brings you that level of discomfort, then you probably just got to end it, because I mean, you just can't control other people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's one thing to tell a woman who she could be talking to, but I think we getting disrespectful now, trying to tell who your mama, your daddy could be cool with. Like, that's like, whoa, you overstepping in your position now. So I think now that's another disrespectful realm we walking into. So I mean, I wouldn't feel away just because I know that you can't control people, and I knew what it's like to be on the other side too.
Yeah, so. Me personally, I'm minding my business. I'm when I say I'm minding my business, I'm all about my business. So I ain't really focused on what somebody else's family is doing, what the exes is doing, really. The only thing will bother me, if you focusing on it and you bringing that word to me, and I'm trying to mind my business, and want to know how I feel, like I don't feel no way because I'm minding my business. I see that you feel the way because you bringing it up. So if I tell you I'm good, minding my business, believe I'm good, minding my business.
Yeah, she bringing it up, yeah.
Or you all keep having issues with this person that you bringing up. I'm like, man, you trying to bring outside sources to me, that I don't want. You did what I'm saying? Outside
information. Wrong at my mama house today. Like, why you telling?
I don't care.
Yeah.
And they get mad that you don't care. And it's like, I'm not trying to be not listening to whatever they got going on. But when it comes to, like, say, another man, I say I got dating a woman one time with children, right? And she want to bring up her baby father. I don't care. I'm minding my business. I don't care about his business. And that's what it seems disrespectful, because they want to talk about their feelings and what's going on. But the thing is, I'm minding my business, what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't mind that man's business. And that's what they don't get when I'm trying not to be disrespectful and say, hey, I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about him. It's because I don't want to mind his business. I want to stay in my lane, mind mine. And women can try to put you into other people's in their other business, and they'll understand that you need to be minding yours. That's my whole thing about getting a foundation of understanding communication. Like, hey, listen here. He got his own business that he got to handle. I got mine.
Some of them use that as a manipulation tactic too, to make it your business.
Oh, that's when she get cut off. See, that's why I'm talking about. We're not manipulating. We're not doing any type of deceitfulness. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you go. If I see all of this, then I'm going to ease. I'm gonna tell you, like, you might want to leave that alone. You dig what I'm saying? You might not want to bring those things to me like that. If you don't listen, then you're not going to be in my space, messing up my mentality, my mind frame. You're not bringing cloudy days to me. I'm gonna separate myself from you.
Period. I shouldn't have it, but I shouldn't have to tell you to leave it alone. If I feel like I have to tell you that, I'm done. Yeah. I should have to tell you to not mess with another man. Not really mess with, but at the same time, not associate with another man in a certain manner. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you how to manage your co-parenting. That should already be taken care of. I shouldn't have to tell you that. You grown. You should know how to do that. You should not be in my space with that.
You notice how people be grown when they want to be grown.
Oh yeah, talk about it.
Especially women.
Elaborate.
It's like, oh, I don't know nothing now, that they got to do some adult decision got to happen, or adult consequence got to happen. But when you do try to forewarn them, they don't listen. They ain't grown. You know what I mean? I'm grown. You don't want to listen. But then when the situation plays out and you see the results or something, now you want to go into the fetal position. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you want to ease back. I thought you was grown. Now I need you to handle this like a grown person. I just like, I watch a lot of people be grown, but then results come to play, the growners go away. You know what I mean?
People do that all the time. It's like how my man say. It's like how my man say. Everybody want to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts have to do. It's the same way with grown people. Everybody want to be grown until we actually start having to deal with things in a grown fashion. Then nobody want to be grown no more.
And I be trying to tell you, like, yo, watch who you keep pricking. Like sometimes, like, you might be going in a situation you ain't ready for. Like, if you ain't ready to handle a situation, then don't go. And don't prick some things that you might not think can bark back or bite back. You know what I mean? Because everything is allowed to protect itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is allowed to protect itself. So if you come at something, even if it's negatively, because like my whole thing is like people come at people wrong in words. And we was looking at a situation we was at earlier about Kevin Hart. It's like, if you ain't willing to build somebody up, keep it closed. If you're going to throw out negativity, you might get it back. Because somebody ain't going to let you keep pricking them. So, like, when you're making decisions in life and you being grown, understand the consequences of everything you do and say. Most people act like these things ain't going together, but they are. You got to watch everything you do and say. Because we all get results of whatever we put out, period.
I just look at it like the grown 1 second, not grown another second. I kind of look at it as like the Flintstone kids vitamins just kicked in. They just kicked in. Now it's like, oh, I don't have to be. I can still be a kid. I can be a Toys R Us kid all over again. I'm not gonna grow up. A lot of people don't want to grow up. They just want to be seen as grown. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you can sit here and say, well, I'm grown. I can handle this. I can do that. You can do whatever you want to do. Because as a grown adult, you can do whatever you want to do. But at the same time, when it comes to this thing called adulthood, there's certain things that you have to own up to that you might not be being taught. You might be being taught, but try to ignore it. Try to hide behind the guise of, I didn't know. Try to hide behind ignorance, because ignorance is bliss. Trying to, live in this victim mentality, this victimhood, because that's people don't just grow up in neighborhoods; they grow up in victimhoods. Mm-hmm. So they want to stay in that. You in the hood, yeah, you in the victimhood. So it's like, yeah, it's easy to not be grown a lot of times when you got so much cushion to fall back on, so much convenience to fall back on, so much blame to fall back on. It's easy to not be grown. So I see people, taking kind of have consequences, and the social media don't make it no better. Like there's so many children on there who can't even hold somebody else accountable for doing something wrong.
Well, that's like the thing, though, man. People don't understand that we're supposed to be cultivating a certain type of, living situation that we basically, it's kingdom living. Like, you're supposed to understand these principalities to understand how to cultivate this life. But a lot of people ignore it because of, we might just jump into it now. It is the superiority complex, like what they got. They don't understand authority. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they understand authority and how things are supposed to roll, and how things is seen, and so they can have a foundation to build up on. Then I think we can have a more peaceful environment of making decisions, of being able to work with one another, of having better communication, and building. Like, until we understand authority, and we can get ourselves, it's like, yo, you can't be, just make sure we tapping in what we talking about for. We can't be just back with, I'm grown sometime until the results come, right? If we're gonna take an authority position, then we got to take all consequences that comes with it. And a lot of people don't like to take consequences for the totality of life. You know what I mean? Like, I always tell people, like, yo, everything got the foundation you need to build it on. And if you don't build it on that, then you will be consequences on how you build, whether or not you're building on solid rock or shaky grounds. You're gonna have a consequence on how you build your situations.
Well, what I see is a lot of people feel as though they can control their consequences, which is why they fall back into this immature state. Because it's like, I once a consequence come, then I feel as though I should be able to control it the way I control my choices. And then you realize, no, you don't control the consequence. Like, certain things is going to happen as a result of your choices that is going to be out of your control. And then you start to throw a fit because you can't control it. No, it's out of your control now. So you feel helpless like a child. So you act like a child. It's kind of like I watched a video with this girl in Atlanta. It was a cop who arrested her, and it was all over. It went viral, and people bashed the cop because they said he used excessive force. I probably ended up making a video about it, but he used excessive force on her and somebody recorded it, or the guy that was with her recorded it, and she was like, "I'm just trying to ask a question. I'm just trying to ask a question," and this and that. He pulling her to the ground, trying to arrest her. Then the body cam video came out and showed the whole thing as you saw the transaction, or the transition rather, from grown to child. So it's like at one point you had the superiority complex. You thought you was over everybody in the situation. You thought you was high and mighty, and you was grown. Everybody else was kids. You was grown until consequences came as a result of your choice of thinking you were grown in the situation. So now the cop saying you're under arrest. Oh, I didn't know you was gonna do that. I thought I'd be able to control this situation. Oh, he's about to take me to jail. Now let me whine like a child now. Let me cry like a child. Let me act like one.
Because another thing, a lot of people misappropriate authority, like from the perspective like age. Like they were like, oh, because I'm this age right here, I got authority. Now, if you're two grown people, age don't matter. You dig what I'm saying? Another fact that matters about that authority. If it's a child and an adult, then age matters. You dig what I'm saying? It depends on the placement of the situation also too. Like,
it's one of the things I always say. And I think this is what contributes, especially with Black people, why we get to this. You hear a lot of women when they're talking to children, and it usually come into place around when people don't want to explain themselves or things of that nature. So people be quick to holler out, because I'm grown. I do this because I'm grown, or I'm grown. So when a child hears this, they're taking their mind was like, oh shit, so I just got to get grown before I can do this right here. And it's not breaking down, it's not getting into the understanding and the real depth of consequences. All they hearing is, I'm grown, because I'm grown. So they're taking it like, yo, okay, well, because I'm grown, mean I can do all this other stuff. So now their whole ambition is to, let me get to the point where I'm grown, and then I can just do whatever the fuck I want to do. But like how Dude said, then we get to this problem of you're battling a child versus parent dynamic. But then even when you're an adult, you still have to understand and submit to authority. Now you think that because you grown, there's no more submitting to authority. Like as if that because you grown, there's no more authority out here. And that's where I think for Black people, a lot of the problems come into. That you don't realize, like, yo, yeah, you might be an adult, but nobody out here doing what the fuck they want to do.
Exactly.
You will be controlled. You will be tamed. And I think that's the problem.
Well, I think some of it too is the part when you get grown and you feel as though you can pick and choose who you submit to as far as authority. So it's like in that situation, like even when I was talking about before, oh, you thought that you weren't supposed to submit to authority in this situation, even though there was an authoritative figure in that situation, but because you was grown, you thought you was the authoritative figure.
That's how they think.
Well, you see that, you see that more amongst women.
That's why I tell people, man, it's different between an old person and an elder. And like, age don't matter to me. Me and old people, you just old. If you're an elder, I believe you have wisdom to impart. I respect age. Don't get me wrong, because I understand that what you can learn throughout time. So it's things I respect. But if you don't spew out this wisdom, You dig what I'm saying? And you mislead or you're very selfishness from all the aspects that you got in life. You don't like it's like you don't like what kids just say, talking to a child, you don't want to explain nothing. Your lack of explanation is leaving a road of deception at the same time. You probably don't see it like that.
And immaturity.
You're right. But it's hurting who needs the information to grow, right? So they don't have to repeat the same situations, but you want to hide them. See, I call this a part of deceit. You dig what I'm saying? Like to me, it is. So like when I see people talking in certain type of ways, and I tell a person, you just old, but you full of deceit, I can't listen to you. Now, if you was a person that was open and you gave me wisdom so I don't have to go through the same tribulations, or at least I have God, right? I have a sense of God. It's still my choice of how I pick the act in life. But if you don't give me some type of God, then I can't get down. I need the elder for that. So I tell people, it's in between the old person and the elder. One starts with an E, one starts with an O, and check that out.
Yeah. So
yeah, the difference is like a ranking of it. Like being like an older person is just that they're an older person. But when you get into the concept of elder, you get into a concept of ranking too. Like there's a rank level which then ties into experience and all these other things, which then gives them a level in which to be respected. But when the motherfucker just older, they just that older. That just means they've been living longer. And it's just that simple. But that is the difference between it. It is a difference between the two. Like elder people usually come with a ranking, like within the definition. It comes with a rank. You know
and
what
my
I'm
thing
saying?
is too, with an elder, you can see they works from their life.
Yeah.
It got results. You can see it. It reflects them. When they work will reflect them. Their growth will reflect. All kind of things will reflect for you can see of a person to take heed from. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people run to wrong people to go get heat from because they want to go because misery loves company. And I tell the person, don't go run to the misery to go get your information for growth. Go look for the wise one. The wise one also has work that he has shown.
Well, the thing about it, the wise one has a reputation also.
Yes.
So you would know who the wise one is because people would tell you to go to that person. That's the elder, the person that people refer you to for the knowledge and for the wisdom is the elder. Now, if you coming up and you telling me stuff, and I'm looking at you like, who are you? You what? You did what? Nah, I'm good. Just an old person. You just talking. You just feel like because you're older than me, you can say some stuff. Nobody around you that I know that's around you has said anything about coming to see you about anything.
And that's why I said there's a ranking to it because people know who the elder is. We know who the elder because they're referred to and revered as an elder. An old nigga is just an old nigga. Like there's nothing special about the old nigga. He's just older. So that's why I kept saying it's a ranking to it. And that's what people need to understand between the difference between elderly and the older person. There is a ranking to it. So guess what? For a lot of these, and this is just a message for these older people, because a lot of older people think because they're older that they have it. If nobody's what they're referring to you, because like I tell people, we don't deem ourselves these titles are given. If nobody is referring to you as the elder, then you just an old ass nigga.
That's a blunt way to say it.
If ain't nobody referring to you as this, you just an old ass nigga. And it's just that simple.
Well, the funny thing about it though, right? Old people don't realize how many people say to avoid them.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't realize.
That shows you also the lack of understanding.
Yeah,
you think what I'm saying? Like, it's so many things that shows people. Like a lot of people, like when people meet me, right? Oh man, they're like, oh, "Why you reading me? You showing me everything. I can't read that. I can't. You got what I'm saying? Like to read something means something to bring upon that I can analyze. If you are showing me this, then why shouldn't I read what is being shown? You know what I mean? If you put words in the book in front of my face, I'm gonna read it. So I tell people, like, people don't like me. Somebody, oh, you always reading people. They show me who they are. I don't got to read. You show me. Don't get mad at me because I'm literate in human in make sure I put it right.
Like
I'm
human
literate
interaction. Like human interaction.
I wouldn't say human interaction. I just want to make sure I go deep on that and on another show. But people get mad because you can read. You literate in reading humans. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I believe everybody should be able to do that. I think that's every child should be able to taught that. Why? Because that keep you out of situation. If you can read a situation before you get into it, if it's bad, I want to teach a child how to read bad. I want to teach a child how to read what's good for them. I want to benefit the children. So my whole thing is I'm gonna learn how to read all kind of things so I can teach somebody how to read a good substance in their life. This is how you pick good fruit. If you can't go look at a tree, right, and then look at the fruit and see if it's matured or not, I hope they're getting that about this elderly thing I'm trying. If this fruit has mature, then don't eat it. If it's past maturity and it has no substance left in it, don't eat it. But you got to analyze this read. Ain't no word on that. So I tell people, you better learn how to read people. Reading people is reading fruit. We are fruits. And we all buy the fruit we bear. You better learn how to read people. Otherwise, you will consume an unhealthy, unsubstantiated fruit.
Well, I think that people.
Our whole thing is
people see reading people as judgment is just reading people. So, but people, the connotation to judgment is negative. Don't judge me. Only God can judge me. All this other stuff about judging. And I'm like, but you're supposed to have judgment. So you can have.
But he gave you the power of discernment. And I guess a lot of people don't understand discernment is another word for judgment.
Yeah, he's supposed to have that.
And this is what people take out of context. Is don't cast judgment. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which means don't cast it all out to the world so people can see. It's like if you feel a certain type of way, ease back. You don't mess with it. And that's what it really is about. Don't cast the judgment. But when you start casting the judgment, I try to tell people, you will get the seeds that you sow. You will reap what you sow. You cast a judgment, you're going to get a judgment cast back on you. That's how life works.
Yeah.
So the thing is not to cast judgment, but to make a discernment, a decision on what to accept and what to cut off.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of judgment, so like I watched this video about, it was called The 5 Laws of Stupidity. And it was based off of an article. It's supposed to be a satire type article, but there was actually some truth to it. So one of the first laws of stupidity is that we always underestimate how many people are stupid. We never have an accurate estimate of how many people within an environment is stupid, because we go and we cast external things as far as degrees and age and race and all of this to give a measure of someone's intelligence when it can be completely separate from it. So then we take away from that takes away from our discernment of someone's intelligence level, and we give them more than what they probably should. We overestimate their intelligence. So we always underestimate somebody else's stupidity level to a certain degree.
Yeah, a lot of it is that benefit of the doubt too. Sometimes people don't make the proper discernment of a situation, and they be like, "Well, I'm gonna just give them the benefit of the doubt," which then allows them to walk into the episodes with a stupid person.
and this is the thing when I try to shine my light, right? Yeah, and this is the thing when I try to shine my light. Dick wants to say, I go in thinking nothing is known, and I'm going in explaining. And some people be like, "Yo, just get to the point." No, I'm already going in thinking you do not know, unless you let me know that you know, and then we can skip points, right? Then we can skip this. But if you don't know, I'm starting from the beginning until you let me know that you know. And that's what people be want. I don't automatically just skip points because I think you. And this is why I just try to say, especially as I write the book, it's like I'm not trying to be offensive, but I got to start at 1 until it is known that we had another step. I don't know where you at. So if I don't know where you at, the best place to always start is at 1, at the beginning of teaching anything. And if that person will let you know what their understanding and wisdom is as you're talking, and then you skip along in the conversation to get to certain points. But today, I tell anybody, like, you want to share wisdom, always start at one. Look, people will call, look, right now, take it like this, and you ain't got to hold his word. A lot of people are stupid. So since we do lack knowledge and ignorance is bliss, right? If we want to change, let's be forget politically correct. Stupid or ignorant, right? Either word you choose, they go together. All right. So if we walk into any situation, we might as well already think that people don't know what you may know, especially if you can start at one and start at one. Don't assume that anybody is already at 10. That will cause a superiority complex too with people. Like, they think they already know something they don't know. And a lot of people we already going throughout life, especially when we're growing up. Remember, when somebody say do something, like, I know. And mama used to say, boy, you ain't know. If you know, you already done it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if I wouldn't have to ask you twice, ask you at all. So it's like if you see something, and that's why I start at one too. If you do not show me that you know, then I'm gonna start at one. Because the know are do's already. If you know, you do. I don't have to go through explanation because you already understand. Because I see you doing. So I know you understand by your works.
Yeah. So speaking of superiority complexes, right? So I saw a video of a study where it said 80% of women would prefer to not work under another woman or work for another woman, which is pretty crazy. And part of the reasons was some of the reasons were that women were not good bosses, or they were too hard on on other women, hazing to a certain degree. Some women have less empathy in that environment, because if you say I can't come to work because I'm on my period, the other one's gonna say, well, I'm working while I'm on my period, so I don't care. I'm pregnant, I don't care. I was pregnant. Like, it's less empathy. But at the same time, they said competition. And I was like, okay, I can see the competition as well. So that made me go into this rabbit hole. And I was like, well, what about black people in general? Going into race, because that goes off of the Kevin Hart interview on the Pivot podcast, when he was like, we messed this up. Why our culture can't do this without ego? And it's this superiority complex of, I don't really want to work with you or for you. You can give me something, you can give me a piece, you can give me this, that, and the third. I'm like, but why? Why can't we? Why is it so negative for a black man to be your boss or to be your leader? You're like, nah, I'm good. And another part of the and this is what made me think about it, another part of the women's study was women coming to the workforce, or in that environment, in that job environment, thinking that them and the boss is sisters. And she's like, no, we ain't sisters. You work for me. We ain't. This is not equal here. You have certain things you got to do. I got certain things I got to do. I got to run this company. We're not going to brunch. We're not going vacation. We're not doing that. And I see that happen too, also in black businesses. Oh, you think because you work here that we got the same equal pie here? Like,
yeah, some people take advantage of the situation because of their familiarity. And I mean, it goes with family, it goes outside of family too. But people try to take advantage of familiarity. And that's what I say. People don't really understand the foundation of a business. They don't understand the foundation maybe of a family. They don't understand the foundation of the kingdom of God. They don't understand foundation, so they just misrepresent their familiarity to get what they want. It's manipulation. It still comes back to manipulation again. When you miss and use something. Like, I tell people, even if you're familiar and you close to me in business, don't manipulate me. Because you can.
Oh, you muted, Dad. You muted.
But as far as manipulation, no. You know what I mean? So I think it really goes back to, like, we got to understand authority. We got to understand the word authority. And we got to understand how all our lives are based off the principalities of authority, period. When it comes to business, when it comes to family, when it comes to God's kingdom, when it comes to life, period. It's just part of life, authority. And we got to understand it in order to have it correct.
But do you feel like we have superiority complexes?
You might mute. KJ.
No, I heard him.
Kev.
Kev had just asked the question. I was about to jump in, but Kev had asked the question.
Yeah, go ahead, Kev. Go ahead, KJ.
So I saw the same study. The reason what makes it true is because I don't think people realize how much women do have a lot of women they're very power driven, whether we know to understand this or not. A lot of women are very, very power driven. So whenever you put them in the roles of these leadership positions and doing certain things like that, they can make a work environment very, very, very complicated. They do certain things, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I see it all the time, but it just comes with, because women are very, very power hungry. That's why men and women clash so much where it is too, because we never used to see women as competition. But then it's like when you see women get the opportunity, they be at our neck. Like, they be like, oh, nigga, you gave me this, nigga, I'm about to cut your head. I mean, it's like, whoa, okay, I knew we was gonna battle like that. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna give you a little leeway, and not understanding that women are very, very heavily driven just simply when it comes to power. I think as far as like a superiority complex, I think most people have a superiority complex. Most people have an oversaturated sense of themselves. Like, they view themselves as much greater than what it is. That's most people. You know what I'm saying? Most people, they do that. You know what I'm saying? They have this, they battle with it. Most people don't even realize that it's actually a complex that they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? They just do what it is that they're doing, not realizing that it could be very, very, very detrimental. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, because you see it all the time. You see it amongst relationships. You see it amongst work. You see it in so many avenues. And it's men and women. Like, people just want to be in charge. It's the entitlement. Like, the superiority complex typically builds within you see entitlement, where people like to place themselves above. Like, if they land above you or they feel they're above you, they act as such. They do act as such. They think they're going to call all the shots. They're going to do all of this. They're going to throw all of that. Like, they do that. I mean, that's what people do. So I think most people carry this superiority complex, whether they understand it or not.
Hey, why do we always feel like we can win a fight? Why is that? And why do black people always feel like, you know, when you grew up in school and everything, and they be like, you know, you see the black girl and the white girl, they about to fight. You're like, I'll beat that white girl. She ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? It always seems as though we feel like we can just beat any, like have win any fight. Where does that superiority complex come from?
A lot of people is them projecting their fears of vulnerability. Most people don't want to feel like they're weak. Most people feel like they're more tougher than they are. Trust me, I see it all the time. I teach martial arts. Everybody think that they tougher than they are. And even when I was young, I used to make a lot of people mad that when they would be like, yo, he won the fight, he could fight. I was like, nah, that nigga still can't fight. He only won because that nigga he fought really can't fight. He can't fight, but the nigga who he won, he really can't fight. So y'all both can't fight. And people used to be mad. They were like, damn, nigga, neither one. I was like, yeah, that's just simply how it go. I was like, but most people just feel that way. Most people project it. Like, there are a lot of people who project that energy even though they know they're terrified of a situation. They know they're not built for hand-to-hand combat, but they still project it because it's more of a fear of their vulnerability and they don't want to be hurt or harmed. So they feel if they sell the wolf tickets, and because there were people who taught the selling of wolf tickets, that if you sell the wolf tickets to a degree, hopefully a person would back down and you would never have to get to the whole physical outing. So a lot of people just do that. And then when it comes to like races, people think that amongst people with more fair skin anyway. Like a lot of dark skinned people think that they're naturally tough. It's just like being light skinned coming up. Most people who darker pretty much feel like they're more tougher. But the difference between men is if you jump into it, if I tear your ass up, you're like, oh shit, nigga, he's just as tough as me. And then they just let it go. So we think the same way even when it comes to whiter people. We figure because of their fair skin, and they do studies amongst this of how people look at fair skin that they do with babies and things of that nature, and how fairer skin gives a more softer feel and whatever may have you. So when we see lighter skin, we see white people, or those are just that fair nature, we think there's a softer attribute to it. This is even things that they battle, which is like the Dominican Republic. I can go into a whole spiel of this whole colorism concept of why we approach it that way. But it comes with that. People think that lighter skin or fairer skin means you softer. It really ain't got nothing to do with it. It's just your skin complexion. But I mean, that's just how it rolls, man. People think they tough. More, and it's mainly black people. But I think a lot of the black people do it more so of protection and they fear of vulnerability. They don't want to be taken. And we build so much on imagery too that we want to feel like we tough, and we also try to protect ourselves from others too. So we want everybody else to think we tough. So hopefully nobody would try us. That's all it is.
Yeah. I would say one is lack of respect. Right? They don't respect the other person, so they want to fight them. Another is a lack of love. They don't know what it is to love their brother. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree. So when you see a person who lacks respect or a certain degree of love, then they'll show themselves. Because when the opportunity comes, it comes in mostly disagreements when you know where the lack of love and respect come from. Because you ever been in a disagreement? Like me and you disagree, right? And we couldn't see eye to eye. We're trying to get to some understanding or a point of view. We don't jump to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't jump to do none of this. So when you see somebody jump to fight somebody, but then say that somebody else came that I didn't like, right? So my brother, I'm talking to you. We all good. We could disagree and still be fine. Somebody else come along, you don't like, you disagree with them, now you want to fight, right? It's the lack of love, right? So I tell the person, as you're going through a disagreement, you can also see the measuring stick of the love. Like people don't understand. Like I watch that too. Like, oh man, you quick to jump to, yeah, you quick to do this and this. That shows me the measuring stick right here. They were in the midst of a disagreement. And now at that time, I tell the person who sees that, now that we understand, like that shows the measuring stick of how somebody respects and loves you, you have to back away then. I advise anyone to back away. Do not feed into their disrespectfulness, their lack of, right? Because that leads to the degradation of hate. You know what I mean? We don't want to go there. We want to keep the hate out of our hearts. So when you do see that, back away. Because we don't want to, digress to hate at all. But those are measuring sticks that we can see when people jump to fight sometime because of a disagreement. And my whole thing is this. There's nothing wrong with showing truth, but a person don't want to accept truth and get mad and want to fight about truth, then back away. Because they're showing you the amount of respect and the measure of love that they have for you.
I think a lot of that stems from slavery too, though. I think a lot of people, because we come up under these parents where they tell you to do something and then it's straight physical assault. We take the concept of beatings like they're not actual physical assault. So we learn from this. We took it from the slave master. I told you to do something, you don't do it, I physically assault you. Why we get straight to physical assault? One don't know, but we choose to go to physical assault. So a lot of people just push for the same thing in which they were taught. So if you do something or you disagree, because you get that in the household, before people get out to the streets, people get it in their household. You tend to disagree or you don't meet whatever the requirements or demands of another person, it's straight physical assault. And that, I think a lot of it is just simply taught. You know what I'm saying? That we get to that because we know no other way for some people. You know what I'm saying? They know no other way. You saw your parents do it. I told you to do something, you don't do it. I'm gonna beat your ass. They carry it the same way. We learned that
I think it kind of comes to what we were talking about earlier as far as consequences too. Some people don't think there's no consequences that come with it. They might just do something, have a physical altercation with somebody and feel like the consequence ain't gonna be as much as they think it's gonna be.
Yeah, and
you have a lot of people who have a fear of that, but a lot of these Negroes today don't really give a fuck about the consequences that come after. Like a lot of people don't care about the consequence. They just care about the rightness they feel within the reason of why they're acting. Because a lot of people aren't actually afraid. Like, dude, I've been around a lot of dudes and around people, dog. A lot of people, like, it's just like we take this concept of like a lot of people ain't afraid to go to jail. Now I say it's not jail that they fear, but they're still wild out and dumb, all kind of stupid shit. So a lot of times it's not the consequence on the end, it's the misinformation that they have for what it is that they're living through. Because I know we have these things in place where we think that, okay, if you got this as a consequence, this would then maneuver you and make you not move this certain way. Idealistically and theoretically, it sounds like it should work. But then what if you get a person who say, nigga, I don't give a fuck about that? Because I know a lot of niggas who don't give a fuck about that. And they be like, dude, I don't care about that. I'm going to still operate, but because they set their own palette of their own rules and how they operate in life. Now, the consequences may still be there because, once again, we underneath a level of authority. But it's not the fear of consequences that move them. It's a lack of understanding upon how to go this, like, handling situations. You know what I'm saying? Like these confrontations in itself. We just don't know how to deal with them. Because a lot of these niggas don't give a fuck because they don't know no better. And you can't really move nobody who don't know no better. And it ain't a fear that they battling with when they don't know no better. They ignorant. It's just ignorance in itself.
Yeah, I got a perspective on that though. But dude, Des, you was about to say something though.
No, those who live by the sword die by the sword.
Most agreed. The one who draws the sword should be the one who is met with brute force.
And that's, you know what I mean? That's why I be trying to tell people, like, you look, it's a thing called protecting yourself and preserving your life. And there's some people with mentalities out here with the I don't care mentality. Some been raised with it, some had it from children, and they carry this throughout life. But it's another thing. Like, I'm not a violent person. I don't want no violence. I really don't. But I will match it for protection. You didn't understand? I'm not Jesus Christ. He died without no violence. He shed his blood. So through him, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness for protecting myself. I'm gonna ask for that. But I'm going to protect myself. And then if that becomes reciprocated violence, and I'm like, hey, I got to I'd rather be judged by God. You didn't understand, for protecting myself and asking for forgiveness than just to be trampled. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, now Kev, I was about to go into a perspective like and I hate to say it, but these guys, you know, that are raised by their mothers, or raised by their sisters, or raised by they cousins that's females or whatever, and they see them getting in fights and see them, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, do you not realize that you're not gonna have the same consequence as your mom and your sister? Just because they got in a fight and didn't go to jail, don't mean you ain't going to jail. Yeah. Just because they got in a fight and didn't get shot, don't mean you will gonna get the same consequence.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always tell my sons. I be like, yes, listen, you're gonna see your sisters get away with certain things, and they're not gonna be held to a certain level of accountability. But I can guarantee you, as a man, especially as a black man, oh nigga, you gonna get that accountability up front. Niggas ain't gonna let you go too far without their addressing you, or you being pressed, or you being held to a level of responsibility. So I always say that to my sons, like, yo, you can't follow up women, because that's what messes a lot of these guys up too. They following up women, not realizing them women don't even get the charges the same. Commit the exact same crime, but they ain't gonna do the time you gonna do. It's gonna be totally different. So for men need to understand we not the same. You need to operate as a man and stop trying to follow up that woman.
That reminds me, I was trying to get this young man that's teaching, man. He's very young though. I mean, he ain't really getting into school yet. But we were playing, right? And he wanted to go slap me in my face. You know, of course, oh no, we ain't gonna do that one, right? And what I thought about was, I understand we playing, but it's fouls, right? It's things that go overboard even amongst play. If you play basketball, it's a foul. You can do something in football, it's a foul. It's fouls even in play, right? So it was up to me to show him what the foul was, right? Because you do this to any other man when you get older or as you're going through life. They not just playing. That play gonna transfer to something else because you done committed a foul, right? So it's like, and to see that, and I'm trying to impart that knowledge, and people don't understand that we got to teach where the foul zones are. We got to teach the youth where the foul zones are in life. I had to show a little man, hey man, I had to tighten them, pull them like, hey, let's stop play for a second, right? You got to blow the whistle, stop play for a second, and let me identify this file so you can understand how not to go upon this in life in a continuous manner. But what I'm realizing is, it takes a village to raise a child. A lot of people do not want to correct the files. And I'm still trying to learn how to handle that, but other than fall back.
I've been through that same situation with one of my daughters when she was smaller. We had an issue, and she slapped me across my face. So I slapped her ass back, pow, right back across her face. So she was triggered. Oh shit! So she slapped me again. She tried it the second time. I said, "Oh, okay, we playing the game." Pow! Slap her ass even harder the second time. And then she was tearing up and she was crying. So I let her get up crying out, and then after she finished crying, then we sat down and had that conversation. I was like, "See, one of the things you got to understand is." You made a choice to do an action, but I don't care who you are or how you may think you are as a person, but you can't control how people operate. See, I'm one of them people, I don't believe in letting nobody put their hands on me. And if you was across a young man or a young woman who believed the same way as which is your father do, and anybody who placed their hands on them would be dealt with accordingly. I was like, this is what happens. I said, see, me, I believe in discipline in its highest fashion. I said, see, it's not a lack of discipline because I slapped you back. No, my role is to teach you a lesson. So you slapped me, and I just fell back into my position as a teacher, and I taught you where this is where you go wrong when you choose to place your hands above people for no reason, especially for no reason. Because I'm one of them people I believe all the time. Nobody should put their hands on anybody. I don't side with people who get mad at people for the reaction. You can't control how people react, and because I tell people all the time, there is no such thing as an overreaction. No, you just got a fucking reaction. It was just more extreme than yours. But it's not an overreact. You only think it's over because you think that if you slap somebody, it should be met back with a slap. No.
And that goes to,
that man shot you in your forehead. It was just a reaction.
And that goes to trying to control the consequence. Yep.
Yes. You just chose to set a limitation for yourself. You didn't understand his limitations meant, he shoot too. See, you might not be a shooter, but you didn't understand he was a shooter. So you slapped him, he shot you. It was just a reaction.
So did y'all see this? Did y'all see the video that went viral about the lady at the airport? The lady had slapped the guy in the airport, and he pretty much did a offensive lineman push away from the security guys to get to her to try to, pretty much do a elbow drop, pretty much do an elbow drop on top of her or whatever. And then the guys try to break it up and all that, but the whole thing was people was like, yo, why you gotta stop messing with people. You can't be slapped, you can't be hitting people, stabbing people, and feeling like nothing's gonna happen.
It's not good to poke people. Leave people. Support people, man. If you don't want to support, my whole thing is, you don't want to support, don't say nothing.
Leave them alone.
And people literally be poking bears.
Like, and my whole thing is why
people are the size, like twice your size, and you just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
You know what? The problem is? People want to poke lions. As a matter of fact, look at my lion in the background. The lion be chilling underneath the tree. You know what I mean? The lion, everybody call lion lazy, right? Lazy lion of the king of the jungle, right? Always chilling. You always see a lion laying down. Don't poke the lion. He's a lazy lion for a reason.
The bear,
you know why? Because he got his opposite end is ferociousness. You dig what I'm saying? So you want something that's ferocious to be lazy, to have an opposite, right, of laziness. You don't want him to be continuously ferocious. So don't poke a lazy lion, because they got an opposite called ferociousness, and you might not be able to deal with that.
Yeah, and that's why
we all operate in positivity. When we have negativity, let's keep that like that. Express positivity, because we talk about the seeds that we plant, we sow, right? We get what we reap. So my whole thing is keep that quiet. If we're going to plant negative, express positivity. Express gain, growth, knowing, teaching ones how to become more in life, right? So because we planting seeds and made the karma of our words, right, make us have a certain type of growth, progression. Because, you know what I mean? We talking about, man, people don't really want to think that we get out, we put out. But if you plant seeds of deceit or any type of negativity, you can expect that to come back to your life. So before you plant them and before you cast, Whatever you want to cast out there, keep this closed first and think before you speak and cast out the wrong things and sow the wrong seeds. So, you know what I mean? That's how I just feel about how we plant our ideas. And the thing is, I was this before we cut off. We was talking about the Kevin Hart situation. The dude said in there, it is easier said than done. And that was my problem with that statement is say nothing and just do. You watch, like everybody want to say something and cast the wrong seeds out there instead of do the right thing. So say nothing about the negative and just do the right thing. But if you do cast something out there that's negative, expect a reaction and just make sure that if you do that, I hope you know who you poking. And if you poking a lion, then you're going to get matched with ferociousness and then there's no overreacting. It's just a reaction.
That goes into like the principles, right? So, like I said, trying to control the consequence. So people try to control the consequence by setting a standard for someone else based off of their principles without taking into account the other person's principles. Even though you know, I'm gonna let everybody know that whole Lori Harvey interview perspective. I'm gonna give a Kevin's perspective on that interview, and we're gonna talk about values, principles, and standards. Because I don't see how you say you don't know yourself but got standards for other people. We're gonna talk about that.
People do that all the time.
But that goes into like goes
reality on others. People do that all the time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, but going into another topic though, before we cut out, like I said on the last podcast, man, Mario Kart is a competitive game for me. I love that game, but I hate losing. I don't like losing. Period. Am I a sore loser? Yes, I am. I gotta admit it. At one point, I tried to fight it. Now I just admit it. I'm a sore loser. But are you a sore loser? Do y'all consider yourselves sore losers? And if so, I mean, how do you handle losses?
I mean, I think at one point I might have been. I wouldn't deny that. You know what I mean? Because I had to understand loss. So yes, actually, at one point, I was a sore loser because I didn't understand losing, right? A loss. So my whole thing is like, my thing about loss now, as a grown man with a kingdom perspective, my losses are my lessons to learn to earn what I lost. I hope everybody get that. My losses are my lessons to learn to earn what I lost. So I can have redemption to buy back, to gain back. All right? That's just how I see it. That's just kingdom perspective I take.
Yeah.
So mine's very similar to Deuce's. We don't teach losses. You either winning or you learning. So when it comes to everything that we do, it's always an opportunity that there's something to be learned, there's something to be gained for a situation. Like to me, a loss or a waste of time, like how some people say, would be a person who goes through something and they didn't take nothing from the situation at all. That would be a person who lost, or i.e., they might have wasted their time. So I don't even believe in the concept of loss. Even when it comes to the concept of death, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot differently. Like whatever you might thought that was within this situation is your opportunity to learn and do better or try to make right whatever you may deem that was right or whatever may have you, depending on however you approach the concept. But I don't see it. I don't even see it within the concept of death. So I mean, I just don't believe in losses. There is no loss.
Yeah.
We had to say, what is your point of view on it?
Oh man, I mean, shoot, I'm gonna stand on that island. I'm pretty much talking more from a competitive standpoint as opposed to just loss in general. I was talking more from just if I'm competing, I don't like losing at all. But as far as with losses in life, I mean, it's just a part of life. I don't see a loss as something that should require a level of worry and a burden that you should carry. You shouldn't carry a loss. You shouldn't carry that as a burden.
Yeah, I don't think I personally go into these situations now in my life in competition. I'm going into it for a learning. I do things to learn and grow now. So when other people's competing with me, they don't know I'm not competing with them. I'm actually learning. Whether or not if we're playing something or doing something, even say like me and KJ, like he's a the fighting instructor, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we went to compete, right, I wouldn't really see it as competing with him because I know that it was things to learn from me fighting with him. So it's like, let's put it like in the Matrix, right? It was a part in there where Neo walked through the door and he was trying to get to a certain person, right? Which was the Oracle, right? And the person just fought him off top. And he said, I'd like to fight you to see who he was. All he did is want to know who he was, learning. It wasn't about competition. It wasn't about if I can beat you, I can fight you to the death. It was about learning one another. They was using the language of fighting in martial arts, right? To communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So when we was looking at it, we started fighting. What they saw was a language of communication. They wasn't trying to destroy one another. And that's why I tell people we don't understand the language of communications in different art forms, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like if you don't understand language of communication in whatever endeavor you do, right, then you will always misdiscern something. So my whole thing about, hey, I don't see losses. And I don't go into things as a competition. I go into things to learn how to do something. So like if I'm playing basketball with somebody, you might be better than me, or I might be better than you. I don't care who better than who. I am still trying to pick up things from your game, right? To learn from. And that's what I'm about. I'm about learning the game of life. You know what I mean? If you want to play this game of life, don't go in and fight in every situation. Don't think everybody has a competition to you. Really use each other's strengths to grow from. You know what I mean? If they're better than you, then guess what? You submit to their authority, get out your superiority complex. You get under their authority and learn something and apply it to your life instead of saying, I'm the one. Because your age don't matter. It's about your mind. How grown is your mind? Stop thinking about how grown your body, your flesh is. Because at the end of the day, this the tank that's gonna be judged is how I feel. If you don't fill this tank up right, I don't care what your flesh done did. But don't take losses as losses. Turn them to lessons. You know what I mean? Drop the O, add the E, O-N at the end. Let's go.
Yeah, I never really been a big competition dude, which is funny though, because when I was younger, man, my father used to always push me to be like, "Yo, why don't you compete?" And I used to be so bad as a child. Anyway, I used to be like, "Hey, look, man, I fight every day, dog. When I get out there and go to real school, I said, well, I gotta fight these people because they throw the flag and they say fight." I was like, "Nah, that's weird. I can fight as much. I fight plenty of time. I can fight for real. I gotta fight because you want to have a tournament." Like I never really was into. That's why I never really was big into sports neither. Like I never cared about sports. I never really cared about the competitive edge that most people push for. I just never cared about it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the competitive edge of a lot of things, especially growing up. So that's where that winner's drive came from a little bit. But yeah, like I agree. I mean, I agree with both of y'all though. I mean, losses, like you said, turn to lessons. Especially over time, as far as if you say you're grown, then you got to understand that everything in life isn't going to be a win.
Yeah.
Everything ain't going to be a win.
Yeah.
And it's all perspective. Like I remember I said to Deuce like one time before, I was like, dog, everything in life is really just perspective. So you can easily take something and then label it as, yo, I lost. But that's really just a perspective and a way of looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can take something and be like, yo, what you got from that situation, you could have gained so much that made you better in long haul. So it's really just all about how you want to apply that to whatever the situation is in life.
No doubt. Yeah. Seriously agree on that. You know what I mean? Oh, and to all my Kingdom folks out there, y'all want to know my perspective on losses? Go to Philippians 3. Read the whole chapter, but if you need to get into the verse 7. So Philippians 3:7. But hey, to have full context, make sure you read the whole chapter.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah. Definitely, man. Y'all want to get into this therapy? Or are we gonna say that for another podcast?
You know, let's do this therapy for another podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because people got their own perspectives of what therapy is, and want to down people for doing certain things, and want to give people try to change a narrative, and all types of stuff, man. Mental health is such a trending topic upon everybody, so everybody has a way of wanting to spread certain information to make everyone feel either sway people's emotions on their therapeutic outlets and what they want to do. So,
Yeah, man, that's just a big fucking cop out nowadays too. But we'll say that for the next one. I'm gonna go in on that. That's a big cop out.
Yeah,
I'll wait.
It's a profound subject. I don't think.
I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait.
I don't think a little segment gonna help that out. I think we're gonna be in
the I'll wait.
Start talking about that.
I'll wait. I'm patient.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, I had something to say. You had something to say. We all had something to say on the Vokalvizions Something to Say podcast. I am KFC.
I am Mr. Humble Beginnings. I am KJ.
That's right. And I am the artist CEO Desmond. And we are just Vokalvizions. We are expressing what is seen to accomplish a dream. You got what I'm saying? We are using our voices to open the eyes, understand where we come from. So may everybody have a peaceful and wonderful good night. And may they have a grand tomorrow rising and start their day off doing something positive. Make sure we plant the right seeds in life. Please make sure we plant the right seeds in life. We will be sow. Now, most people thinking about seeds as far as money. I'm thinking about seeds as far as everything we do, every output that we put out there. So may we make sure we plant the right seeds in life so we can reap the good things of life. Hey,
yeah.
Close it out, KJ.
Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.
If I don't spark the mind, I'm not living motivation. If you live it or you make it, I can take it that you're faking. I'll call your bluff, I'll point you out, I can get so blatant.